Hi guys, my name's Seb Tudor, I'm the man on the Silver Mountain, and welcome back. I wanted to talk today about something that I find very interesting, that someone brought up, and that my brother also brought up the other day when I was talking to him, and that is the people have apparently noticed from some of my earlier videos that I take some solace in the fact that the universe is going to end, and that's to an extent true, but there's a bit more to that. In the way that I see it, I'm very much a big picture person, and so the biggest picture of all is that the universe is likely, in at least what is considered to be the most likely case in popular science, either in a big crunch or in the heat death of the universe where everything just turns into a big soup. And as a result, to me, that stands out as this is actually a pretty good thing, because it means that no matter how many times I fuck up or how many times I do something good or whatever else, the universe is so uncaring as to take no notice of me, and eventually none of it will matter. And that's a very freeing thing to me, because it means that in the grand scheme of things, even if I cause some suffering during my life, or even if I do the most wonderful things in the world, it won't matter at all. It will go on for a certain period, and then it will disappear. And that's where it brings me down to the other part, where it's a little ripple, and that is this tiny snapshot of the universe's vast timeline that is my life. And I'm not someone that if I was given the option to exist forever, then I would, because I'm interested in everything. I'd love to see everything. But considering that that's not likely to be a possibility, and that even if science in one form or another is able to expand my life for a very large period of time, excuse me, then it's still something that has to end at some point. There still has to be a point at which I stop. And as a result of that, though, in regards to my little snapshot of the universal timeline, it makes me go, for that tiny snapshot, the universe is perceiving itself. The stuff that makes up all things is perceiving itself, and it will never perceive it in this way ever again. It will never experience it in this way ever again. And as a result, when I think about the way that my actions do cause various things to happen, I like to think of it as little ripples, and those ripples will maybe go on for a couple of generations, maybe more, who knows, maybe I'll be lucky in that regard. But ultimately, I want my life to have those ripples into the places that I value. So, for example, my family, I want to have ripples go in that direction. My work, I want that to be a thing. But in regards to, say, spirituality, that is of in no importance to me whatsoever, religion and whatnot, do I want ripples to go in those directions from my being to help that progress? No, not really, because I don't care about it. It's not a thing that I invest in at all. And as a result, that's something for me to pay attention to, where I'm dividing my time and my effort, both of which are finite to one degree or another, into the places that I want to have the effect, into the places that I want to have that ripple go, so that things are left after I'm gone, or so that things can happen whilst I'm still around. And this is where, to me, to a degree, things stand out as being broken with religion, because as a result of me being me not believing in anything, and me having this both big and small view of existence, I have a lot of ambition, and I have a lot of kind of drive to one extent or another to beat the clock to get stuff done. And I want to be able to have my ripples touch people, and then have that make some kind of positive impact to one degree or another. And so then you look at religion, and this isn't true of many religious people nowadays, but I do still see a case I do still know people who have had their ambition and had their desire to achieve crushed because they are religious enough to confine themselves because they are worried about what happens next. And that's an issue for me, because I see these people who are in some cases absolutely amazing people, who are absolutely terrific and who have so much potential, and yet they squander it and they waste it and they let it disappear, and they stifle themselves purely because they're worried about what happens next. Now, I know what happens during my life because that's what's happening to me day to day. Do I care about what happens afterwards? No, not in the slightest, because regardless of what happens, unless suddenly angels and demons pop up, falling from the sky and popping up out of the ground, then ultimately what it comes down to is that, to my knowledge, the ending is going to be so distant and so unthinking and uncaring, and I'm so far below its notice that when it happens, nothing matters. But that doesn't mean that my life doesn't have to, that my life doesn't matter, because who decides what doesn't matter? We do. And so if I'm deciding that my life matters to me and that I can do things with my life that will then matter to other people in one way or another, then that means that my life has been worthwhile if I achieve those things. If that comes to pass in such a way, then my life has had value. And as a result, when it comes to the end of all things, the heat death of the universe, the big crunch, regardless of what form it takes, really, if we get to that point and everything means nothing, then the only meaning and value that is attributed to anything, as with many things in life, it is only coming out of the human perceptions of those things, or the perceptions of intelligent creatures in regards to those things. So if my tiny ripple, my snapshot, is worthwhile to me, to other people, then that's all it needs to be, and I'm done. So it's freeing to think that everything will end and nothing will persist, because it means I can screw up and do as many both terrible and wonderful things as possible to get to the goals that I want to achieve. But at the same time, it means that I can't just go run completely wild, because if I did that, then I still wouldn't achieve the things that I want. The meaning is in achieving the things that you want. And granted, there are some people who want things that would be in no way helpful to the rest of the world. One can only hope that they're in the minority. Anyway, tell me what you guys think. Has this been a life-affirming video where you guys can sympathise with my viewpoint of the big and small, or has this been a rather depressing video where you're like, gee, thanks, Seb, the universe is going to end and I'm going to amount to nothing? Please let me know, because I'm interested, and it's one of these things that I don't get to talk to people about an awful lot, because oddly enough, talking about perceptions of death and the thoughts on that matter are not usually things to discuss with people around a dinner table. But anyway, if you found this at all entertaining or interesting, please drop me a like down below, and otherwise subscribe for more. Take care, guys.